I had to defend my wife after my homophobic brother got her kicked out of my home and almost arrested. I have owned my own house for years, and have let my brother come by with his kids and let them stay for as long as they like many times before. It's basically a second home for them, as my sister-in-law can be toxic at times. Just last week I got married to my girlfriend of 5 years. My brother has a strong dislike for my wife, and I'm not sure if it is personal or if he doesn't like the fact that she is a woman marrying his sister. When I first told him we were dating, he got very angry and said he didn't want his kids to be around gay people. He suggested counseling for myself to get some help. I quickly shut him down, and threatened to kick him out at the time. He let it go, but I can still feel animosity between him and my wife as I feel like he blames her. There have been a few interactions, including at our wedding when he approached her, and said she was ruining me. I'll usually ban him from my house for a few weeks, until he apologizes. Right after our wedding, my wife and I decided to take a month to help her move into my home before we go on our honeymoon. While moving in, she made some suggestions about decorating the house better. My wife is an interior decorator, and I told her this was her home now as well, so she was free to do renovations wherever she would like. I suggested she start with the spare bedrooms, as they were the exact same as when I moved in, and the wallpaper was starting to peel off. One day while I was at work, my wife was renovating the room where my brother's kids usually stay. She had moved toys and clothes they left here down into the basement for the time being, as she was redoing everything. My brother came to grab some things, when he saw what my wife was doing and started yelling at her. According to my wife, he called her a thief and WHRE for touching things that didn't belong to her. He said she didn't belong there and had no right to be doing anything in his kids' room. My wife isn't the type to let people walk all over her, so she started screaming at him to back off, and it was her home more so than his. Apparently the screaming got so loud that one of my neighbors ended up calling the police. When the cops got there, both my wife and brother went outside to talk to them. My brother spoke to them first and claimed she was a thief, stealing his children's things from their room, and that she had no right to be there. My wife said she was married to the owner of the house. That's when my neighbor came over and told the cops that my brother and his kids lived in the house, and they had never seen my wife before. While we were dating, we spent most of the time at her apartment, as it was closer to both of our jobs, so it would make sense my neighbor hadn't seen her many times. But not at all? Bull. The cops told my wife she needed to leave the premises immediately, or they would have her arrested. They wouldn't even let her go back inside to grab her phone to call me. It wasn't until 2 hours later that she managed to call me, as she had to walk to a gas station almost 2 miles away and ask quite a few people, before someone finally let her borrow their phone. She only had her mom's number memorized, so she called her to come pick her up. Once she did, she used her mom's phone to finally call me. As soon as she told me what had happened, I came over to her mom's house. She told me this was the final straw. She had married me and ignored my brother's comments for so long because she loved me. But if I was going to side with my brother on this, and allow him to not only stay in a home that by all rights is hers now, but kick her out as well, she was going to file for divorce. I just hugged her and told her I didn't mean for any of this to happen, that I love her, and she is my priority, that it is her house as much as mine, and I would make sure my brother knew he wasn't allowed to ever come over again. We were both crying and holding each other for a while, before we went home. Thankfully my brother had left by then. I took off of work the next day, and called a locksmith to change all the locks, and then had someone else install security cameras. I hired a pair of movers to come take all of my brother and his kids' things out of my house and put them by garbage pickup. I called him and told him where his stuff was, and that he better come get it before everything was picked up by other people. He was there within the hour, and I notified him he would not be allowed back into my home ever again. He had disrespected my wife, and got her kicked out of her own house. I said we would be going low contact, and if he pushed the issue it would become no contact. Then I went inside. A few hours later I went over to my neighbor's house and told them they had called the cops on my wife, and that my brother was not allowed on my property anymore. They were shocked, and said they didn't know. I told them, well now you do, so don't let it happen again. My wife was really impressed with how I handled everything, and I hope my brother can learn to respect my wife and I, as I don't want to lose him completely.